If you are over 60, I want you to pause for a moment and think about this. When was the last time you climbed a flight of stairs without hearing your knees crack, without your heart racing, without holding on to the handrail for support? My name is Dr. Joy Reid. I am 60 years old, and for more than 30 years, I have worked with thousands of patients around your age. People who were once full of energy, who hiked mountains, danced at their daughter's wedding, and ran after their grandchildren in the yard. Then, one day, they come to me with the same question. Doctor, I am still healthy. I walk every morning, but why do the stairs feel so high now? I usually smile, look at them for a moment, and say, the stairs didn't get higher. Your legs just forgot how to climb. Have you ever felt that way? The stairs are still the same, but our bodies have changed. The body doesn't grow weak in a single day. It simply forgets how to move the way it once did. We don't just lose muscle, we lose what scientists call movement patterns, the small, coordinated habits that once made everything feel effortless. When even one of those patterns fades, every step starts to feel heavier. I remember one quiet afternoon in my small clinic in Maryland. A 72-year-old man named George looked at me and said, Doctor, I'm not afraid of getting old. I'm afraid that one day I won't be able to walk upstairs to my reading room anymore. That sentence stayed with me for a long time. Because the ability to climb stairs is not just about strong legs. It is a symbol of freedom. When you can still climb stairs, you are still independent. When you can stand up without anyone's help, you still believe that growing older doesn't mean giving up control of your life. And here's the good news. Science has proven that difficulty climbing stairs is not an unavoidable part of aging. In a 2023 study, researchers found that 73% of adults over 60 struggle with stairs not because they are weak, but because they have lost the movement patterns their bodies once remembered. With just a few simple exercises, no gym required, the body can relearn those movements in as little as 8 weeks. I have seen it happen myself. Linda, a 68-year-old woman, once had to grip the railing with both hands. Now she can run after her grandson and tell me during her checkup, Dr. Joy, I don't just climb the stairs anymore, I climb them with a smile. I often tell my patients, aging doesn't take away your strength, it just lets your body fall asleep for a while. My job is to help it wake up again. I don't send them to the gym or ask them to lift heavy weights. They don't need any special equipment. All they need is a small corner of their living room, a wall, a chair, and the 2 feet God gave them. Together, we awaken 7 muscle groups and 7 movements that science calls the forgotten patterns, the natural motions that time quietly fades away. I remember a 70-year-old man named Paul who told me that every time he climbed the stairs, his knees shook and every step felt twice as tall. I smiled and said, Paul, we're not climbing mountains. We're just learning again how to take one step at a time, the way you did when you were 40. We started with the first exercise, the wall sit. It looks simple, but it is the secret to helping your legs remember how to hold you steady. I tell my patients to stand against a wall, slide down as if sitting on an invisible chair, keep their back straight, knees bent at a right angle, and just breathe. Most people don't believe that sitting still for 30 seconds can make their legs burn, but that's exactly when the muscles, especially the quadriceps, begin to wake up. A study from the University of Michigan found that people over 60 who practiced wall sits for 90 seconds a day for 6 weeks improved their stair climbing speed by more than 30%. But numbers aren't what matter most to me. What matters is the moment they stand up and realize they didn't need to hold on. Then we move to another exercise, the slow step down. It sounds strange because most people think to get better at climbing stairs, you should practice stepping up. But in reality, stepping down is the true challenge. When you go down, your muscles have to control your entire body weight, guiding and balancing you at the same time. I like to tell my patients, going up builds strength, but going down builds wisdom. A Harvard study found that people who practiced slow step downs, taking 3 full seconds for each step, improved their muscle control twice as much as those who only practiced step ups. And that, to me, is the beauty of aging. It teaches us that strength isn't just about power. It's about balance, control, and the quiet confidence that your body still remembers how to move. The beauty of this exercise is that it rebuilds confidence. Many people do not fear stairs because of pain. They fear them because they are afraid of losing their balance. And when they practice this movement, I see not only their legs grow stronger, but their eyes become brighter. I remember Evelyn, 74 years old, once said to me, "Dr. Joy, I am no longer afraid of stairs. Now I am only afraid my grandson climbs too fast for me to keep up." We both laughed, and in that moment I knew her body had remembered. You see, these exercises are not only for your legs, they are for your belief. Each time you lean on the wall, step down slowly, or simply stand a few seconds longer, you are quietly telling your body, "I am still here, I still can." And that is why, in the next part, I want to share the small movements that scientists call simple, but that can completely change the way you walk, stand up, and keep your balance. Because it is never too late for your body to remember how to move freely again. When the body begins to weaken, the first thing we often lose is not strength but stability. That feeling when you have to hold the chair to stand up, or when you step down carefully one step at a time, is a sign that your body is slowly forgetting how to stay balanced. I still remember one autumn morning when a patient named Margaret, 67 years old, came to see me. She said, "Dr. Joy, I still walk every day, but lately it feels like the ground is slightly tilted. I am so afraid of falling." I gently held her hand and said, "Margaret, your body has not lost its balance. Your hip muscles are just asking for attention again." You see, sometimes what keeps us steady is not in the knees or the feet, but in the hips, the most forgotten area after 60. When the hips are weak, every step feels uncertain, as if the ground beneath you is no longer flat. And the standing leg abduction exercise is the key to finding that steadiness again. I often tell my patients, imagine you are trying to open a door with your leg. Stand tall, rest one hand lightly on the wall, and slowly move one leg out to the side. It does not need to go high, it does not need to go fast. Just move slowly, with control and awareness. Soon you will feel the side of your hip, that quiet muscle that has been asleep for years, begin to warm up and tremble slightly. That is a good sign. It means your body is waking up. A study from Northwestern University found that older adults who practiced this exercise daily for 12 weeks were 71% less likely to need the handrail when climbing stairs. But for me, numbers have never been the most important part. What truly matters is the moment you realize you can stand steady again without anyone's help. I once asked Margaret after a few weeks of training, "Do you feel any difference?" She smiled softly and said, "Now I can carry 2 bags of groceries up the porch steps without being afraid." That one sentence was the greatest gift to me. Then comes the next exercise, the sit to stand. If you think climbing stairs is difficult, let me tell you this. Every time you sit down and stand up, you are doing the same movement as stepping up a stair. It is the most natural, practical, and honest test of leg strength. I usually show my patients a sturdy chair and say, "Do not use your hands, let your legs tell their own story." Sit down, take a deep breath, lean forward slightly until your nose is just above your knees. Then exhale and stand up, not quickly, not forcefully, just steadily and evenly. At first, everyone trembles. Many say, "Dr. Joy, I cannot even do 5. But after 3 weeks, they can do 10, then 15. And the best part is that when they stand up from the chair, they also rise above their fear of aging. Science calls this a functional movement exercise. But to me, it is an exercise of dignity. Because every time you stand up, you remind your body, "I can still take care of myself." A 75-year-old man named Edward once told me after 2 months of practice, "Now I do not have to call my grandson to help me reach a book on the high shelf. I can stand up on my own again." I smiled and said, "That is not just muscle, Edward. That is the return of your pride. And that is what I want you to feel through every small movement." These exercises do not just strengthen your legs, they rebuild your confidence. They remind you that at 60, 70, or even 80, you can still climb the stairs of your own life step by step, breath by breath, with strength and grace. There is something I always tell my patients. As long as your legs can move, your heart remains free. That is why the next 3 exercises I am about to share with you are the final keys to restoring that freedom. No equipment, no supervision, just a little patience and the belief that your body still wants to move forward. I always start with my favorite exercise, the heel raise with hold. It sounds simple, but it is a secret that much of medicine has overlooked for years. Imagine this: you are standing at the edge of a stair, your hands resting lightly on the railing. Now lift your heels slowly, rise as high as you can, and hold for 3 seconds. You will feel a gentle stretch in your calves, as if your body is whispering, "I still have strength inside me." The calf muscles are the main engine when we climb stairs, but they are also the first to weaken after 60. A study from Stanford University showed that just 3 minutes of this exercise a day for 8 weeks can improve stair climbing ability by 67%. I saw it happen with Nancy, 72 years old, who once had to stop halfway up the stairs. After 2 months, she told me with a bright smile, "Dr. Joy, now I can climb the stairs easily and it feels joyful. Dr. Joy, now I can climb the stairs not only more easily but with joy. I feel young again." And I knew that was something no medicine could ever give. After that, I teach them one more exercise, the glute bridge. It looks simple, but it has remarkable power to restore the body. You just lie down on the floor, bend your knees to 90 degrees, place your feet firmly on the ground, and gently lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Hold for a few seconds, then lower down slowly. This exercise not only strengthens the lower back and glutes, it also reopens the flow of energy throughout the body. I remember an older man named Robert, a former construction worker, who came to me because he could no longer squat or bend without pain. We practiced this exercise every day. 2 months later, he said, "Now I can lift my 3-year-old grandson up high without pain." I smiled and said, "Robert, that is the power of love and a little bit of science. When your hips are strong, everything changes. Your back feels lighter, your knees feel freer, and every step becomes more stable." And finally, there is the exercise I always save for the end, because it carries something truly beautiful, standing on your toes to balance. It may seem small, but it teaches one of the greatest lessons. Try it yourself. Stand tall, lift your heels, and reach one hand forward, as if you were reaching for something you once thought was too far away. Hold for a few seconds. At first, you might wobble a little, but that wobble is the best part, because that is when your brain and your body begin to trust each other again. A study from the American Geriatric Society found that people who practice this exercise regularly reduce their risk of falling by more than 50%, and even more importantly, they gained greater confidence moving anywhere they went. I remember Helen, 69 years old, who told me during our last session, "Dr. Joy, I used to think I could never stand steady again, but now I can close my eyes and still keep my balance." I asked her, "How does it feel to be able to do that?" She smiled and said, "It feels like I am still free." And I believe that is exactly what all of us at this age are truly searching for: freedom. Not the freedom to run fast, but the freedom to live fully, one step at a time. When you combine all 7 of these exercises, from heel raises to hip lifts to balance training, you are not only rebuilding strength, you are rebuilding the relationship between your mind and your body. It takes less than 20 minutes a day, but in return, you gain confidence when you climb, when you stand, and when you live. And I want you to remember this. Aging is not a sentence. It is simply a reminder that your body deserves love, care, and attention once again. Start today, even if it is only for a few minutes. Because when you take care of your legs, you are taking care of your journey ahead. I am Dr. Joy Reid, and if today you climbed even one more step than yesterday, know that you are moving closer to freedom in every motion of your body. When I was younger, I used to think health was something we had to chase. But after decades of working with thousands of older adults, I realized something deeper. Health is not a destination. It is a journey. A journey where each day, taking even one small step, standing up once, holding your balance a few seconds longer, or climbing one more stair is enough to tell yourself, I am still here, and I am still alive. I have met people who once could barely walk 10 steps, yet within a few weeks they climbed stairs again, went out to their gardens, and smiled once more. Not because they became younger, but because they believed their bodies could learn to be strong again. And if you are listening to me today, I want you to believe this. 60, 70, even 80 is not the end of strength. It is the beginning of awareness. When you practice these 7 exercises, you are not just training your body. You are teaching it to trust itself again. You are awakening the memory of every muscle, every joint, every heartbeat that has carried you through your life. Remember this. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to be fast. You only have to be consistent. Because every small movement, when repeated with patience, becomes a lasting strength that age can never take away. I am Dr. Joy Reid, and if today you managed just 5 minutes of exercise, I still want to tell you this. You have already won against who you were yesterday. And now, I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment below. Tell me how old you are and which of these 7 exercises made you feel the first difference. I read every comment because your stories inspire thousands of others to begin their own journey. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to a life of strength, freedom, and joy. I will see you in the next video where I will share how to keep your joints and spine flexible at any age. Until then, keep moving upward one step at a time on the staircase of your own life.